holidays. Welcome to another episode of Retro Traveling with Mrs. Z, and I'm Mrs. Z. Today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite subjects. I'm a collector of aprons, and I don't mean just modern day aprons. I have aprons from my grandmother, from thrift shops that I visited, and from friends that have friended me on Facebook that know I collect aprons and have sent them to me as gifts. So they're a wonderful thing, and believe it or not, people do not wear aprons today. They're a very practical thing. They save your clothes from being destroyed when you're cooking. They keep things from being splashed on you, and they're really cute. And my grandmother, I remember years ago, my grandmother wearing aprons. No matter when she was in the kitchen, no matter when she was cooking, she always had an apron on. My grandmother was very poor, and she always wanted to protect her clothing so that the clothing that she had, she could keep for a long time. And aprons really helped her do that. And my grandmother always used to have an apron with a pocket in it. And the things that she kept in the pocket were always a hanky. She always kept a safety pin in case she needed to pin something. And she would always just stuff odds and ends in there as she was moving around the house. So a pocket was very important for her on an apron. Now, unlike my grandmother, my mother never wore aprons. She was a 50s and 60s gal, and she never wore aprons. I never saw my mother with an apron on once. But I am very much like my grandmother, where I love to wear aprons when I'm cleaning, when I'm cooking, and when I'm doing things even outside. So let's explore my collection of aprons today on this episode of Retro Traveling with Mrs. Z. So the first thing that I'm going to start out with today is 2 aprons that I received in the mail as a present from one of my Facebook followers. She is a lovely person, and she had a relative that passed away, and she sent me a message and asked me if I'd like to have aprons, and I was absolutely honored. And she sent me this lovely note. And one of the things that Carol, my friend on Facebook, said is, can you imagine the stories if these aprons could talk? And she's very right. I often, when I purchase an apron in a flea or an antique store, I often wonder what kind of lady wore those. You know, was she poor? Was she rich? Did she work for somebody? What are the things that she did when she had those aprons? Did she have children that were tugging on them? Did she decorate the tree? Was she making Christmas cookies with them? I wonder what kind of history went into those aprons. So I value every apron I have because I know that there's a history with every tear, rip, and fade with the apron. And if you look at these aprons, these are just really skirt aprons, and they're holiday aprons, which I really like. And they've got 2 massive pockets in them, which is great because I can put all kinds of stuff in them, and they're very cute for the holiday. And again, it protects your skirt as you're moving around the house, cleaning or cooking. So I love these kind of aprons. They're great, and they wash up beautifully. And if you'll notice the condition that these are in, these aprons have been well taken care of. Ladies really prized their aprons years ago and really took care of the apron, made sure they were ironed, and they have lasted this long. This is the second apron that she sent me. And again, it is a skirt apron. And it is just adorable. Again, the pocket, one of my favorite things. And this is a poinsettia. So I love it. It is really cute, and it's very, very feminine. So I really like this one as well. So I thank Carol for her generosity and such a wonderful present to receive in the mail. And I will certainly be wearing these during the holiday season. So thank you, Carol. I love you. Thank you so much. God bless you. Okay, so my next apron is really the favorite kind of apron that I love to wear. And why? Because it protects all of my clothing, including the tops and blouses that I wear. And this is a lovely old-fashioned apron. When I bought this at a flea tique, and they said this apron was from the 1950s. So I don't know if it is, but that's what it was marked. And you'll notice that it is a bib apron. So it has the little bib on top, the straps that go over me, and then it ties nicely in the back. And I really love this apron. It's really cute, again, with a pocket. You always need a pocket on an apron. And then it's got this little whimsical pear on it. I love it. Again, fantastic condition. And this is Sebastian, our senior cat, who always likes to join me on videos. So this is really a great apron. I love this. It is well taken care of. There's not a hole or anything on this apron. When I received it, it had been used, but really well taken care of. I love this kind of apron because it really protects your clothing. And you can buy modern aprons today at Williams-Sonoma and some other stores, even Walmart, that have the bibs on them, and they're really cute. You can get them with little sayings on them, little wine glasses if that's what you're into, and it just is a really practical thing to wear. And I don't really know why aprons fell out of popularity. I think they fell away with them in the 1970s and 1980s when people just, I think that cooking became a secondary task, and women just really went out into the workplace, and aprons just kind of got put into the closet and disposed of. But I really think it's a thing that needs to come back because they're really practical. So let's look at some more. My next apron is, believe it or not, from the 1930s. And this was a real find, and I paid a little bit more money for this, but it was well worth it. Look how feminine this is. So aprons not only had a practical use, but women, they were just the epitome of femininity in the 1930s. And look how cute this is. It's really dressy, it's frilly, and it's just adorable. It has little apples and berries on it. And I just love it. And it's really festive, and it's really light. And again, not a blemish on this apron. Somebody took loving care of this apron so that I could enjoy it now in 2021. So I really like this apron. As I stated, you can purchase aprons in the modern day world, and they don't have to be boring, they can be cute. And I actually had found this one. This one was found at a store, a little boutique that I was in that had brand new stuff, believe it or not. And this is really cute. And I actually have some stains on it from cooking that I can't get out. But it is absolutely adorable. It's black and white, and it's just really, really cute. I love this one. And then this is one of my favorite ones as well. Again, a bib apron, and it's got the little polka dots and the little fringe on the bottom of it, and it's just adorable. And again, very practical, nice long ties in the back to keep my clothing perfectly clean. The last apron that I'm going to share with you holds a very special place in my heart. For years, my mother, when I was a little girl, wanted me to sew with her. I had no interest in it. I was off doing my thing with dancing and skating and just everything in the world, and had no interest in what my mother was doing in the back bedroom when she made my coats and my dresses and all of those things. So when I became interested in vintage, I decided that I wanted to learn how to sew. So her and I sat down, and my mother's 91, and she sat and taught me how to sew. And my very first project, because we needed to start out with something that was relatively easy, was an apron. Believe it or not, I chose it because, why? I love aprons. So we chose this, and you can see that I selected a material that is kind of heavy, so it's very durable, and it is for the fall. It's got rickrack on it, and a lovely long tie, and a lovely pocket. My mother and I put a lot of loving care into this, and the beautiful thing about this apron is it will last me a long time, but when my mother's no longer with me, I'll have this as a memory of my mom on something that we were able to do together on a project on a mother and daughter. So I'll treasure this for the rest of my life, and hopefully someday when I'm gone, somebody will look in a fleetique and find this and wonder what kind of memories, where this came from, and what kind of memories it held when the person, who was me, wore it. Thank you for joining me for this episode of Retro Traveling with Mrs. Z. I hope you learned something about aprons today. Aprons are very practical, and they're a piece of clothing that's really necessary in the kitchen, especially when cooking those holiday dinners where you have lots of grease and gravy and lots of things going on. You want to protect your beautiful dresses, your vintage dresses, and an apron is the way to do it. Again, my grandmother used to wear it to clean. She used to wear it to cook. I never saw her without an apron. It was a main staple in her wardrobe. And if you walk into my house, you will usually find me in an apron as well when I'm cooking or when I'm cleaning. So I hope you learned something about aprons, and I hope you go out and find a passion for aprons and find one that you like and are able to wear it and enjoy it through all the seasons. Thank you again for joining me for this episode of Retro Traveling with Mrs. Z, and until we meet again, stay vintage.